we're live. Today I have the honor of interviewing Chandler, who's gone viral on TikTok and other social media with his song Figure It Out. With over 9 million views on TikTok alone in just 1 month, he's been generating a lot of attention. Prior to this song that just went viral, he's had other breakout songs and actually a long career in music and theater. We're going to invite him in, talk about his career in music, what he's currently working on, the success of this current viral hit, and future plans. Let's bring him in.
How's it going?
Good. Thank you so much.
I was like, who's going to send the request first?
It's so funny, you know, like we edit these when they go on YouTube, and that little window of like when I do the intro versus when the person's like on and it's a solid connection, it's always kind of this is very clean, but I've had moments where it's not so clean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Welcome on the show, Chandler. Man, you've been eating up the internet, social media. I'm so happy for you. What a dope song that you're making so many people smile with. How does it feel? I mean, I want to ask you about your whole career, but let's jump into what's going on for you right now with this viral hit, Figure It Out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting. You know, you never really feel like, I think when you're making music, I always have a rule that I never want to feel like I'm really taking a step backwards, right? And so I always feel like I'm putting one foot in front of another, but you never really know like when you're going to take that big step, and you can be confident in your music all day long, but you never really know, I think, until you put it out there, what's going to resonate with people. And if I'm being totally honest, I mean, I would have never guessed in a million years. I had a lot of confidence in this song, and I felt really, really good about it before it hit the scene, but I would have never guessed in a million years that this would be the one out of, you know, this is upwards of 30 songs now over the last couple years, and it's just it's a lot different. It's a lot different than the other songs that I have put out. I think it's a different subgenre of rap. Sorry. So it was interesting. It was shocking and surprising, and the response has been overwhelming. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, I imagine, you know, because you've already had success in music. You've had other breakout songs like Hot Pocket and Bad Company and the remixes and I'm the Plug and the remix to the I'm the Plug. And you have an awesome discography. And, you know, the song Figure It Out, which is going viral right now as we speak, the numbers are still, you know, generating over 9 million views, combined views just on TikTok in about a month. I mean, it's like a month and 3 days or 4 days. It's spectacular. I mean, that's hard to kind of fathom all of that attention, and I'm really excited for you. But when you look at your discography, you're a serious rapper. You know what I mean? And I'm going through, especially like in 2022, just last year, I was listening to, you know, well, this year you dropped Elusive, which is a gem, and I love hip hop. And I interview heavyweight rhymers, and Elusive is up there with anybody who's doing music. Wow. You know what I mean? So you have Figure It Out, which is a viral song, which makes people dance, it makes people smile, it makes them feel good. It's something that people are going to send to each other, a little bit like what Macklemore did with Thrift Shop, if you recall. Right? Sure, yeah. And it's spectacular. It takes a true talent, a special type of mind, and a lot of things that you have, which is a background in theater, a background in comedy, right, and a background in hip hop, to bring that all together. Not anybody can just do that. Yeah. But when it comes to the pen game, you've got lyrics.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. It's I've always said like I wanted to be respected as a MC first before everything else. I mean, rap is the oldest art form that I took part in way before, you know, comedy, theater, dance, anything. I grew up in an area where rap was prominent, and I held on to that love that was fostered at a very young age all throughout my life, and to come back to it after, it's like I never stopped writing all throughout doing comedy, doing theater, and whatever the medium was. I never stopped writing. I had pockets of time where I stopped doing it publicly, but I was always writing and, as they say, sharpening the pen. And it's yeah, that's always been very, very important to me, to remember that the reason I started doing it is because I love the genre and I love the artists that have come before me and forged the way, and I want to be respected on that side of things first and foremost, and let everything else come along with that. And the fact that, I've been able to be connected with this kind of viral internet side
fame,
of
fame. I know you can't say it, but I'll say it for you. Fame. It's a form of fame where you create something and it explodes. It's the leverage and the extension of this amazing technology that we have. But 1 million views is tremendous. When we're getting upwards to close to 10 million, you're going to hit 10 million views at some point in August, right?
Yeah.
So like that's spectacular.
Yeah. No, it's been really, really unreal. And like I said, to be connected to both that side of things, but also, still feel so connected to what got me to this place in the first place, and the place that I'm from, and the things that I did when I was a teenager, like showcases and ciphers and watching the music videos at 6 o'clock in the morning, and all of these things that are so fond to me, to still feel so connected to that, and also so connected to what it looks like to do this in the modern day. It feels good. So
yeah, that's really good. And just for people to have, for people who may not know you outside of just your music career, you're originally from Virginia, and you're from the area of Virginia that's known as the 757, right? And that's kind of like, it's probably better, but it's a talent hub. So much talent has come out of that area.
Yeah.
If you could share with us a little bit about the area you grew up in, some of the hip hop talent and maybe other musical talent that came out of that area.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, I'm originally from the 757. I lived in the 757 all throughout childhood, adolescence, up until I went to college and I moved to Richmond, Virginia. But I was born down in the Newport News, like in the Tidewater region, which is very close to Norfolk, Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, which is where Pharrell, Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Pusha T, and Clips. I mean, just absolute legends. Yeah. Literal legends, spanning so many different subgenres. That's why I always use that term subgenre, because it was a rap and hip hop and R&B hub, and the artists all brought their own flair to it. So many subgenres came out of these Virginia rap and hip hop artists. So growing up there was it's what people's parents listen to. It's what kids listen to at school on their CD player. It's what they listen to on the bus. It was every burnt disc, back when you had to burn discs. Yeah. And before that, I mean, it's just what was in my ears. And it is still that place. I mean, there's still so many artists coming out of that area. I just played a show in Norfolk a couple weeks ago, and it was a fresh reminder of wow, the support for this genre in this area is so large. I was so concerned about having not played in the 757 in years, and the response was overwhelming. Having a packed crowd after all that time felt so good. So it's just it's one of the hubs for the genre in the States, but for it to be so close to home is very, very special. And there was just a lot of opportunity because of that. And like I said, the ciphers and showcases and TV 47 and all of these spots where they just let young teenage MCs get up there and do their thing. And be judged by people that had been out there doing it their whole lives. And it gives you a strong backbone and also makes you feel supported later in life, I think.
That's great. That's great.
Yep.
And then when you move to Richmond, Richmond has a thriving art scene
Yep.
in general and hip hop. I mean, it's had hip hop artists, Mad Skills and others come out of Richmond for, a long time. But in addition to hip hop, they have a thriving theater scene and just arts in general. Richmond's a very beautiful and creative city. And you went to college there. Can you talk to us a little bit about those college years, what you studied, and how that took you to New York?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent 4 years at VCU in the School of the Arts. I went to school for theater performance. I got into theater originally, again, in the 757. I actually I changed schools year after year, from the third to the ninth grade. I lived in Virginia, but I moved a lot, right?
Yeah.
So after third grade, I went to a school in the fourth grade called Hilton Elementary, and it was a magnet school for literary arts. And you had to take you didn't have to take, you had to take the test for visual art, and you had to take the test or the audition for show choir. And you wouldn't necessarily get in it, but if you got in it, you had to do it. That was the rule. So I got into the show choir in the fourth grade, and then that's how the whole theater thing started, just to give the context of like, so he's doing all this rapping and everything. How's he end up in the theater? So I was actually kind of like, shoved into the deep end as like a kid. But that's where I found my love for the stage, and I did it all throughout school, and I decided to go to college for it. So when I got to school, it was very, very demanding. It was a very demanding program. It was like class all day, every day, rehearsal at night, rehearsal all day, every weekend. So it was all consuming, and I worked at least one, if not two or three jobs at the same time, and I and was in relationships at times, and I mean it was the full-fledged, like, nose in the book, feet on the pavement college experience of just like being busy. But it was a great stepping stone to New York. That's what I love about it more than anything else, honestly. The experience of going to school in Richmond and not having this kind of utopian college experience that was
removed. It wasn't removed. There was a grind.
Yeah, like a lot of people. And this is not to speak negatively about any other schools or anything, but, a lot of people, like, for example, Virginia Tech, right? It's like, well, Blacksburg is Virginia Tech, right? That's like, so you go to school, you go up there, and like, I remember visiting friends and being like, wow, where are the adults?
Right.
Because it's like that city just is that school. And here it was like, you were constantly confronted with real life. And that's what New York is like, right? It's real life from all over the world, and you're confronted with it 24/7 as soon as you walk out your door. More than anything, it just act as a pregame for living life in New York. That was the best thing that I got out of it. And initially went to New York to be an actor, I was like, well, I spent all this money on college to be an actor. I should probably go give it a shot. So
and
I did that.
That kind of cold, like, were you like, I'm going to finish and I'm going to go? Or was there like a buddy or a group of people from VCU that were doing this? And, people who kind of went, maybe already had like an apartment. They said, hey, we're renting rooms, because that happens at times where there's connections of people that reach back and say, hey, there's this opportunity here. What got you from Richmond to, you were in Brooklyn, right?
The last year that I was there, I actually lived in 3 boroughs while I was there, but
you did the whole thing.
Yeah. So I did go right away, basically. But I did go with friends. So I actually got a job fresh out of college at a theater in Kentucky, of all places, in Eastern Kentucky, random theater in the middle of nowhere. So I spent the summer there. was in a couple shows at this amphitheater out there, and then came home for I think 2 to 3 weeks, and then immediately turned around and went to New York and moved there with one of my best friends that I had roomed the last 2 years in college. And we lived in Manhattan the first year. Was not for me necessarily. I was like, and I think that it was, and I think it was not so much that like, I was like, man, I can't live in Manhattan. I think it was a matter of like, that was, I had become very accustomed and had fallen very in love with this, like the vibe that Richmond had.
Yeah.
And when I would go visit Brooklyn, I would be like, it feels like Richmond. It just feels like a little bit of a bigger version of Richmond. So I wasn't in Manhattan. I wasn't in Manhattan long. I was in Manhattan for all of, 11 months, maybe just under a year. And then I moved to Queens and lived in Ridgewood, right on the edge of Bushwick. That was my favorite place I lived the whole time I was there. Loved Ridgewood. It was the best.
Yeah.
Awesome community. And then I lived, so I was there for 2 years, and the last year that I was there, I was in on the east side of Williamsburg in Brooklyn, with the this was as COVID was, people were starting to, I mean, I was there.
New York in the beginning was ground zero for COVID.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was an unbelievable place to be during, I mean, I look back on it and I'm like,
wow,
man, I remember thinking at the time, like, that it was just never going to end. I remember like getting off the phone with friends or family that lived in places other than New York and being like, golly, like, am I ever gonna
be here?
Yeah, I mean, literally, I was like, am I ever gonna get out? Like, is this ever gonna go back to normal? I mean, it felt, the energy was. I remember I had to go pick up I mean, this is kind of crazy for 2020, but for some reason I was taking a lot of freelance work and I was still getting paid in paper checks. Yeah. So I had to go pick up a check in Herald Square, and it was like right as it was happening, like when people were like, we're not going outside anymore, but I was like, I gotta go get this money.
I can do right. I need this check.
Yeah, I was like, I need this check. So I remember coming up out of the subway. There had been nobody on the subway, and I remember coming up out into Herald Square and just looking around. I mean, it looked like I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Right, like the city's empty.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like nothing, just nothing but the lights. I mean, in a way that like you just never even seen it in pictures like that. So it was like it was mind-boggling to live there throughout that entire time period. But that is a great segue to talk about how I came back to rap, because that's because
actors couldn't work.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, had you love rap, and you have a talent for writing and a talent for expressing yourself. Did you say, was it like a conscious decision, like I'm going to rap? We'll rap for food, right? Or was it more like, somebody like how did that happen where it led you to kind of jump right back into recording?
It was a really long process, and I talked about it to people a lot. I kind of had this like, being a kid that like, I loved rap music so much, and the music that I was making when I was a kid, as it is for most kids, was, if you listen to it now, you'd be like, wow, I can't believe that's the music I was doing. It's so cringy, right? But you have to make that. You have to make that music to get to this point.
Where you're at, right?
Yeah. So I was having a hard time disconnecting the fact that I wasn't my 17-year-old self anymore, and that maybe there was more to it. So I was like, I was almost afraid of, of what people were going to say, because I was reminded of the things that people said when I was a kid about my music, when it sounded the way it did. So it was a lot of fighting through that, and it took a lot of my friends that were in music scenes or in the music scene in New York talking to me about it. Lots of demos passed back and forth. I mean, for probably upwards of a year. I mean,
Wow.
like, um, of us passing back and forth demos. And I was lucky to, my best friend is one of my main producers. He goes by Falair. He's based out of DC. And, I mean, he's my best friend. I was best man in his wedding. So I'm very fortunate, you know, in that way to
That's a good friend
that.
to have as a rapper.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great connection, that we have both personally and professionally. And, so he was a lot of what, pulled it out of me, and we worked together. The first 5 songs that I put out under Chandler were produced by him. They were demos that we'd been passing back and forth, passing to engineers, going in and out of the studio. And finally, you know, we made one that we were like, okay, we feel confident enough to do this. I had a friend of mine, it was kind of an acquaintance of mine at the time that was a close friend of my sister's, who is also an artist, and he lived down in Richmond. And I was like, I'm going to see if he wants to feature on it. I got my best friend on the beat. You know, I feel supported. And then, yeah, we made 5 more songs that were in that vein, and it took about 10 months, and then all of a sudden something on TikTok just went, and it was like,
Traction.
yeah.
Wow.
And then it was game over from there.
Yeah. So, you know, you've gotten a lot of traction, you know, so before your song going viral, over 9 million views, and what's happened in the last, let's say, 5 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Prior to that, you already had great traction on TikTok by any measure, right? So there's going, you know, like big time viral, which is where you're at now, but you were also like baby viral, you know, I don't know, you know, right? You knew maybe it's from your college education, right? From your theater productions of working in New York and in other places also, but you approach the game, the hip hop game, differently. But what I think is an interesting question is, were you really on TikTok or other social media prior to kind of igniting your rap, you know, reigniting, right? Because there's the early part of your rap career that you won't let us listen to those records right now, right? Maybe at some point in time in the future, it's like, hi, check this out. But there's the reigniting of your rap career, and wow, this awesome success that you've generated in the last 2 to 3 years. So before reigniting your rap career, were you on social media? You know, did you know about how to use social media? Because you're a master at it right now.
It was actually, it was very convenient. I actually had, so my first song as Chandler, coming back to the genre, came out in January of 2021. My first video on TikTok went viral in December of 2020, just a month before. That video was totally just like me joking, right? I still did not really understand the platform or anything. So it came at a convenient time though, because I was like, oh man, I'm getting my first viral video. I'm about to start putting out music. What I failed to understand at the time, and I was on social media, and I had done a lot of freelance social media. I was in a band all throughout college and had run social media for that. And so I was very familiar with the platforms. TikTok was still very new, especially for music promotion at the time. Yeah. So what I failed to realize is that TikTok it's not only a discovery platform, but it's niches, right? Like what you're seeing on your, you know, it's so funny. I hear people say to me like, I don't know why I keep getting this on my For You page. And it's like, because that's what you're watching. That's what you're engaging with, because algorithms are different now. And you get what you pay attention to. So if you stop and you watch, two rap videos back to back, your For You page is going to become nothing but rap music,
Right.
because they know that's what you want to see. They know that that's what you're going to engage with, which means you're going to stay on the platform, which is good for them. I failed to realize that at the time. So I had gone viral for like political commentary and, or satire, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And what that did for a while is it pigeonholed me into making, like, the only thing that I could find for myself to go viral was making videos talking about
Political stuff.
yeah, political stuff. And it made sense because it was in the heat. I mean, this was 2021, so it was around the inauguration,
Right.
and it made sense. So it made sense. And that's why I say, we made those 5 songs. It took, and that was 10 months. And it took those 10 months for me to detach myself. And I didn't fully detach myself. I, slowly started to sprinkle in my music. And then I would like put my sound behind videos where I wasn't necessarily like promoting my music, but I was, I was like, that way, okay, maybe the video will go viral because it's in my niche, but then people hear the song faint in the background. They say, what is that? So I started to do that. And then Hot Pocket happened. And when Hot Pocket happened, I said, this is my moment. No more, nothing. It's just music from here on out, because now enough people are going to be looking at this video that I can change my niche.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
That's good. And thank you for explaining all that. I think for people, who are trying to get discovered and want to learn from somebody who's doing it right now, that's really helpful background. It's really interesting because you have, I think, all the ingredients that you need, that a person needs to continue to do what you're doing, which is creating right? So what do you have? You have a background in theater, so
Getting a phone call.
and you know what? It's not me, it's my daughter, and that's a whole other. It's so you have a theater background where you know how to act, you know how to pull that off of the on the camera. You have a comedy background, right, which goes so well with social media. So you can act and you can create magical short format moments with the most happening music of the moment, which is hip hop, and bring it all together and in a new way, right? Playing up your Southern roots, right? Playing up maybe not the person you would think demographically would be a rapper, right? Being able to leverage all these things in a magnificent way, which is what we're seeing right now. We'll figure it out to some extent, but you can't plan these things. It's almost like, who would have thought that you have all of the necessary ingredients to really milk this cow for not just once. You can create quality content and people can discover you and fall in love with your music, moving forward, not just with this one viral moment, but many to come. Does it surprise you that you've got those ingredients?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said in the beginning, it's always surprising. I would say the most important thing is that I learned around the time Hot Pocket was happening. Nobody knows exactly how to go viral. The only way to definitely go viral is money. That's the only way. Everything else is up to air. Or up in the air. There are best practices you can follow. There are ways to make it. There's ways to make it more likely. But at the end of the day, unless you are someone who has a ton of money and you can dump it into the back end, you're looking at, kind of just taking your chances. The most important thing is to know what to do if you do go viral and how to and how to maintain it. I learned that the hard way with Hot Pocket. Hot Pocket was a massive viral moment. I mean, truly, like, I mean, it was 2 years ago. It was different, but it could have been as big as the moment that I'm having now, but I didn't know what to do while it was happening. It was talk about getting, like, it was being pushed into the deep end again. And I'm so glad that it happened the way it did, because I learned quickly, and the next time it happened, I got better, and the next time it happened, I got better, and it happened multiple times after that, to the point where now when I get another one like that, like this one, like Figure It Out, that is as big or bigger than Hot Pocket was 2 years ago, I knew exactly what to do. And there's so much to it. It's so intricate, and all you can do is research, pay attention, listen. You got to be on these apps. If this is the route you want to take, which I think is the most viable one for most people these days, is to is social media. You got to be a consumer first. You got to be in touch with what is going on, so you know what to do. I mean, the worst mistake I ever made was putting up that Hot Pocket video. That video ended up doing 4.7 million views, and it took me almost 2 weeks to get the song on streaming platforms. And because of that, those 4.7,
they weren't timed properly.
Yeah, and those millions of people that saw that video had nowhere to go. All they had was to watch that video again. And now I never promote a song. You won't even see me post a snippet of a song unless the song's already out. So that in the event that a video pops off and it does, like Figure It Out, does 5.3 million, all of those people can go right to Spotify and hear the whole thing.
Right, because on TikTok, the algorithm is pushing it, and people are looking at it and generating views. Yep. So it has 5.3 million on one video, and 1.8 million on another video, and another million on another video. But it all goes to Spotify, where it has over 1.2 million. And I imagine some equivalent type number on Apple Music and the other digital streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So that was the lesson learned from the other viral moments where you're excited. And I think that most artists do this. I have a new song. We're going to release it. You send it to DistroKid or wherever. Meanwhile, let me just get it out there so I can share it with people. Yep. But if it goes viral, it basically hits a dead end.
Yeah, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. There's no, you do not. And the reason that I won't say most, but I feel like a lot of people don't, I didn't for a very long time, is because you don't think, as somebody making music, that your music is going to pop off. That's just, we have been made to believe that it is next to impossible to achieve these things. So our confidence, no matter how much we sit in the studio and we're like, oh my God, I'm sitting on a gold mine. As soon as the internet gets involved and the public gets involved, our confidence every day is just going to go, because that's just what's been instilled in us. And you don't know, but on the flip side, you don't know what is going to resonate with people. You have no clue. People have I did things intentionally with this song. I did things unintentionally with this song.
Oh, that's interesting.
People have turned this song into something so much more than I intended it being. And I love it, and I'm supportive of it. But at the end of the day, my girlfriend said to me as I was clicking through beats and asking her opinion.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
going
very smart too. That's another lesson learned, right?
Yeah.
What's the female audience gonna like?
She's I'm clicking through, and we're listening to beats that are very much so in the vein of the song, like you were talking about, Elusive. These beats that you would imagine it's bars for bars, right? And it's like more cipher.
The beats the guys like, right?
And I was So I'm like going through and I'm listening, and I mean, we probably went through hundreds of beats that night. I mean, we sat there for hours, and at one point she looked at me and she said, you know, really like the direction that your music is going in, but I can't shake it to that. I said, that's a song. I said, and that's exactly what I say in the song. It said, they said, Chandler, I'm loving this new shit, but I cannot shake it to that. That's exactly what she said to me. And
wow.
it just goes to show you, it's the active listening, always consuming everything. You just never know when the idea is gonna pop into your head. So
No, that's awesome. That's truly awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, given that you've had this wild success, over 9 million views on just TikTok in 1 month, I've noticed, right, by going through your different pages, you've got some shows coming up. You have a show, I believe, this Saturday, right? And I've also noticed when you go back through your discography this year and in 2022, even 2021, but really 2022 and 2023, you've been putting out a song at least every month. Right, and every time you're swinging for the fence, right? You know, you hit the home run right now. Do you have something else coming up in the near future in regards to music, or right now is it the moment in time, giving your lessons learned, that you're going to ride this viral moment, and you know what comes next? I guess is from the lessons learned for the artist.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the simple answer is everything. Everything that I have ever wanted to do will start happening now. I am hoping, knocking on wood. The more specifics of that, I think I have gotten to a place where, you know, what you want is that your song eventually moves independently of you, right? You put it out in the world and it's theirs. I mean, I'm moved by the idea that, like, you know, my fans are my boss, right? That's who I work for. My goal is to please them, and the best way I can see to do that is to allow my music to be interpreted however they see fit, right? And let them draw conclusions, and I'll be here to explain, and I'll be here to facilitate and whatsoever, but music is intended to create a conversation and evoke a feeling, and they have taken this song and it's gotten to a place where I feel like it's starting to do that. So I'm starting to feel like I can move on to the next thing and give them hopefully 5 more of these that will be bigger and better. Now I have resources I didn't have before. I have things that I feel like are going to take my music to the next level. The next song is already with
already.
Yeah, it's with the platforms. There's 2 in the chamber that are coming back from. So I have a song called East Coast Residents with a rapper from well, he's kind of half Philly, half RVA based, but his name's Young Wabo, and have a song with him coming out August 18th, and then 2 more in the chamber after that are coming back from the engineer at the end of this week. And
wow, it's
just going to be like that. I mean, you know, it's even if when things look like they slow down in real life, behind the scenes, they're never slowing down, you know. So we're doing 1,000,010 moving pieces, lots of shows. I have multiple shows on the docket that haven't been announced yet, working on a tour in the spring, and just everything I could want out of this, I'm hoping comes in the next year, and I'm knocking on wood that it does. You know, everything is up in the air, but I'm feeling more confident than I have in the past, for sure.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you. Thanks for sharing about the new music. It seems really exciting, having a viral hit that's still doing numbers, and you know, let's not put a cap on that, right? Who knows how big it can get?
Yeah.
And it's great to see that actually turning into shows and tours and opportunities, resources, right? Because resources, there's economic resources, but then there's cosigns and all sorts of, companies and people that are like, hey, you've got something going on, you've got a look, you've got a shtick, you've got something that can go even bigger. So that's super exciting. One of the things that I think that you've gotten really incredibly good at, and it comes from your past viral hits, is how you continue to leverage the short format videos and, putting them out. It doesn't matter if you've already put one out for the song, you do one with your girlfriend, and now you do one kind of like more clean and one less clean, right? One that's like more on the phone and one that looks more professional, whether it's the lighting or the studio or whatever it is. But that continuation of allowing people to have different ways and to use the template, to all this cool stuff that they do with TikTok videos where they can take the voice and all of that. You're giving them the ability to do that in multiple formats.
Yeah.
What's your thought on, especially right now where you have a song that on Spotify is doing over 1 million streams in a month, on the other digital streaming platforms, equal numbers, we're talking 9-10 million on TikTok. Have you thought about giving this one potentially a long format? You do have the featuring spectacular also. Is that something you've thought about? Or is it like, look, we're going to stick to short format and try to give you some more viral moments, and then let's go talk to the record labels?
Sure. My philosophy is that in this day and age, music videos are earned, right? I think that for artists that are at my level, I think that those like monetary resource is placed better elsewhere. I think a music video is it's not always, but like a music video can be very high overhead, and right. you run a risk of very little return, because if that video that you've dumped probably significantly more money than you've dumped into your 100 to 150 pieces of short form content that you can shoot on your iPhone 14, and it doesn't go viral, you're kind of at a loss. So I do feel like Figure It Out is getting to a place where it may have, gotten to that that philosophy of earning the music video. I really like to, I'm a team player. I like everybody to be involved in everything. Anybody that has even barely tapped something that I've worked on, I like them to get a piece and have a part in it. So that makes it difficult when it comes to a music video, because this is a remote song. This song was while it was engineered here in Richmond with my engineer, the feature on it is from Australia.
Yeah, he's great. What a great spitter.
Yeah,
you both sound so good together.
I like to do songs with people that aren't exactly in my niche. I think that it complements well, but that makes it difficult when it comes to the music video, because he's in Australia. My the producer Stafford Beats, who's actually listed as a primary artist on the track because he did a lot of heavy lifting with that beat and deserved it. He's based in Baltimore, so there's a lot of that aspect to it. But it's so funny because it's like I feel like the internet has made multiple music videos for me at this point, with so many people dancing to it and so many people, there's multiple trends running right now. I think we're, probably either hopefully today or tomorrow going to pass 8,000 videos just on TikTok. And these are 8,000 videos of other people using your song and doing the Chandler shimmy. A lot of them are of the shimmy. That's true. But yeah, I kind of feel like I'll be interested to see if my team and I and the other artist team get to a place where we feel like the music video is 100% necessary. But I will say that moving forward, when it comes to music videos, I do think, like I said, I think music videos are songs earn music videos for artists at my level. I'm hoping that soon we're at a place where I can,
Right.
confidently invest in music videos up front, so that when songs drop, it has that, because that's a lost excitement, I think, of waiting for the drop. So many major artists drop albums without ever promoting them now, and it's kind of become a thing. And I have, like I talked about before, such fond memories of watching VH1 and MTV, and watching the music videos early in the morning. And I do kind of eventually want to get to a place where, even if I'm not promoting it beforehand, when I drop a song, I just drop a killer music video. But it has to be justified. It has to be a justified decision.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get there soon.
That's good. Good. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah.
Who choreographed the Chandler shimmy? Was that you? Did you come up with all that?
I did it on accident. I just did it. I didn't do that. That's why when I was saying I've done a lot of things with this song intentionally and a lot of things unintentionally. Like that video, this is actually, I'll show you, this is interesting. So I keep this wall blank in our room for content purposes. Wow. And I shoot a lot of my mic videos on that wall, and I just did that. And this is what I'm talking about being in touch and being in tune and being on the app. I'm reading thousands of comments being like, it's the shimmy for me. And I'm like, that's what's clicking? Double down. I'm going to make 10, 20, 50 more videos of me doing that, because that's what resonated with people. Yeah. Because I don't decide that. All I can do is try things. It's throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks,
Yeah.
So
that's great. I think that you have a very modern, it's a tremendously valuable skill. You have a very modern approach to music. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people still have what I would call an old school approach to music, where they record the album, they prepare it, and then they release the album with a single and a music video, and maybe they'll do a marketing campaign, and social media falls within that marketing campaign, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. Whereas your approach is, I'm going to release singles. I'm going to hit you with singles, and I'm swinging for the fences. I'm going to try it. Is it bars? Do you want bars? Okay. Do you want this more fun song for the summer? Yeah. But every time you're swinging for the fences, and you could tell by the care and energy that you put into the songs, by the quality of the recording, of the selection of the music, the delivery, your cadence, everything is done as best as you can. But then you hit them with the short format content on social media to try to generate those viral moments, mm-hmm. and you hit more often than most major artists are hitting. So it shows that your strategy is working, and that you have a skill set that you've developed, that not only a skill set, but like a connection. You're tapped into the pulse, sure. right, of the algorithm. You got like a main line into the algorithm that you're leveraging very powerfully, mm-hmm. tremendously powerfully. And for me, it's fascinating to observe it, to cheer for you, and but to mention it, right? You can't say this. Only I can tell you my observations. Yeah, I figured it all out. You can't do it. But I'll tell you, you are definitely tapped in, because record labels and artists and people in the entertainment industry in general would pay a lot of money for 9 million views, organic 9 million views, 8,000 people taking it and creating their own thing with it in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? That's spectacular.
Yeah.
For your next songs, right? Because we talked about, one coming soon, a couple more in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Are those like, listen, I gave you a viral moment, but check me out, I've got bars?
Mm-hmm.
Or are those also potentially viral moments?
They're kind of in the middle. I mean, I was actually explaining this to a friend of mine yesterday. I write music at this point kind of 50-50 down the middle, and I write it for myself halfway, write it for myself halfway, and then I write it for what I think the people want to see, the other half. And I kind of meld those two things together so that I don't lose any sense of self in my music, and that I always, have majority rule and it bleeds through the music. But I think that for me to be in the position that I am in and only make what I want to make would be not only selfish, but not in my best interest. So I, what the next handful of songs are a mix of those things. I have, like, for example, I have a song that's in the chamber right now that I've been sitting on for a while that was it's just based off a joke that me and my girlfriend and my sister and her boyfriend were sitting in the car, and I can't even remember what the context was, but we got off talking about purple devil emojis.
Yeah.
Right? Like the purple
Right, the
devil emoji.
that you see all the time, right?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's a song. Well, again, like I did with Figure It Out, I was like, that's a song. So I have a song that I'm sitting on. It's called Purple Devil Emoji. And I think it might be one of my best songs. I love, I'm so excited. It should be done at the end of this week. And I'm so excited. And we're aiming to get like a really solid feature on it. And, the idea behind it is that is something that everybody has on their phone. Everybody has it on their phone.
So you can see the moment happening where people are putting that in the comments or in this chat.
Yeah. And it's totally me, and it still sounds like me, and the beat sounds like a beat I'd pick, and everything still bleeds through, but it's still totally tapped in and in tune with the idea of a viral moment and what could potentially be a viral moment and what people would love to be a part of. And people love to be early. Everybody always, they comment on videos, they say first, second, third.
Yeah.
I'm early. I can't believe I'm this early. They love that. And the idea of just comments flooding. See, this Lux Blaine down here has the right idea. The comments just flooding with purple devil emojis is so exciting to me. So it's always a blend between the two things, and that's what the next handful of songs will be.
Thanks for sharing that. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
So I wanted, as we start the wrap, I just wanted to ask you a couple of things, because we've spent a lot of time on the viral moments because it's special. It truly is special, and I commend you on that. But, before you jump back into the rap game, you were full on acting in theater, living in New York, living the dream, and the pandemic happens, and you're very talented, a multifaceted artist. So you jump back into another skill set that you have. Pandemic is over now. You're a viral sensation now. Have you thought about, jumping into acting again? Are you going to stay focused, in hip hop? What's tugging at your heart?
Yeah, I mean, I've found that this is where my heart lies. I mean, I always knew that. It was, like I said, it was the first art form. It's the art form that led me to everything else that I did. And the other thing that I have found, especially when I was in college and spread so thin, is that I can only get but so far when I try to do a little bit of everything, because I'm just trying to do as much as I can of everything. But if the only thing that I'm focusing on is music, when I get to a certain place with music, hopefully the other things will come effortlessly. And that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. And I haven't had nearly the success with acting, comedy
Right.
specifically, any of those things that I had with um, that I've had with music, rap music in particular. And I'm fortunate to have blended my love for acting and my love for comedy and all of these mediums that I've done in the past into my rap music, so that I feel fulfilled in all of those forms through the one thing. So no, I don't plan on doing anything like that in any kind of serious way, like devoting a ton of time and effort to it anytime soon. But I do hope that one day my platform
Right.
allows me to you know do that
Yeah,
again. Yeah,
come full
yeah,
circle. That's a really interesting thing that you mentioned, which is sometimes we don't get to choose where our
mhm,
success comes,
yeah,
right? You know, you've got a degree, you went to one of the most prestigious schools for theater in the nation. You're in the place where it happens, but you make it as a rapper, right? We
it
don't
just
get to choose
happened.
these things. They just happen organically,
Yeah,
but it is happening. It very
yeah,
much is happening for you. And I think that there's a lot of wisdom in knowing that if you're focused in different areas, you're not going to be able to do as well as if you're putting everything into one, right?
yeah. And I think it's something that comes with, I think, just growing up and maturing as well, is that you can't do everything. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it all. It's a tough pill to swallow. You're fucking freshly 22 living in New York City, and you're like, I'm about to take over the world.
Right.
And
And
then,
then you meet the
yeah,
world, and the world's like, no, you're not.
and the world's like, what if you didn't?
Right.
Yeah, so it was coming to terms with that, and then seeing the response. It kind of became a no-brainer. I was like, well, until I get a big slap in the face to tell me otherwise, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put my eggs in this basket.
That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome. For people who are discovering you through this video, through this live, for people who are discovering you through, the song, Figure It Out, what are the best places where you live online? If a producer comes across this, wants to send you beats, if a booking agency says, I want to bring this guy and put him on this tour, what are the best ways to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, best ways to contact me are definitely through either Instagram, DM. It's at Chandler Matkins. I'm at Chandler Matkins on every platform. I'm on everything you can think of. I think, unless you know of another app, let me know.
Yeah,
'Cause if you know an app I should get on, let me know, because I want to be
yeah,
early.
that's right.
uh, yeah, but yeah, Instagram DM is the best way to get to me personally for anything like features, beat packs, video content, anything like that. You want to send me an email, which you can find on all of my pages as well. It'll send you to my manager's email, and go there. And as far as all of the platforms, like I said, I mean, I'm on everything. TikTok is obviously my most prominent one, but I post a lot of things on Instagram and Twitter that I don't post on TikTok, if you want to get to know me a little bit better. And I have a lot of subscriptions as well. I have a Patreon, and all of these things are at the link in my bio. So,
That's great. Tell us a little bit about your Patreon. If people want to support you directly, they watched your video, they love your persona, you made them smile. You know what I
yeah.
mean? How can they support you directly?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of two ways, or three, I guess. The main three that I tell people, Patreon, number one is fairly new. I launched Patreon a couple months ago. Music comes out early on Patreon. So people that were subscribed to Patreon heard Figure It Out way before the rest of the internet did.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. And the tiers are as low as $1. Like, everybody that paid $1 got to hear Figure It Out before anybody
That's good.
else. And they go up from there all the way up, all the way up to being able to do this with me and
Yeah.
have personal conversations. And, there's a lot to offer over on that side, just a lot of behind the scenes content. I also have subscriptions available for $5.99 on TikTok, like for TikTok Live. So when you come in TikTok Live, you get custom emotes, and you get to have priority response. And I also sometimes do sub-only chats and even sub-only lives where it's
Wow.
just me and the subscribers, which is really, really cool. It's a more intimate conversation. And then there's also a direct support button on Spotify as well that you can find at the top of my profile.
That's great. That's great. I'm wishing you all the success. I want to thank you for, creating the viral song of the summer right now. Show me another one. Show me another song that's making people dance and generate videos and making them laugh and feel good. Really this is the hot summer. This is really the hot summer after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And this song is making people really have a good time. And I want to thank you for that, and thank you for this time.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me. This was I do a lot of these, and this was a really well formulated and very generous interview. So I want to thank you too.
Thank you so much, Chandler.
Yep.
Salute.
Salute. That's right.
Peace.
Talk soon. Bye.